Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining again. I wanted to do this video to touch on a subject that I don't think I've seen out there, and that has to do with actually seeing some of your data from your simulations directly displayed in Plotly after running a simulation. So the goal would be to have something like this where you actually see that data that you can then do things similar to what you could do in Simulink, where you can highlight a specific area of data and zoom in and out on that. So the way you can do something like this is to start by having a graphical user interface that is associated with your model, where you would actually have a time series chart embedded in your user interface. And what I will do is run a simulation, and when you do that and you have your widgets running, what you'll notice is that you have the URL that you can use to open the user interface. And when you do that, you also have two choices. You have embed web browser, which would then cause that user interface to be a tab. That could be either a floating tab or a docked tab within Cameo, or you can view that in a web browser. And in this simulation specifically, I actually have two different graphical user interfaces that I could view, and you can toggle between these, similar to how you would imagine toggling between tabs. So what's interesting about that is when we look at this, we can then, if you've selected add control panel to your simulation configuration, you can actually run that by starting that in the web browser as well. So there is that option. It's below the web server for simulation toolkit option in your simulation configuration diagram. It's the one on the very bottom that says add control panel, and that's what this allows, is you to actually start that simulation from the web browser. So notice when we start this simulation, this is being driven by the parametrics that are in this model, and I can send a signal from here as well. So this button directly ties to a signal, and what it does is it triggers an accept event action that then goes to an opaque action that actually toggles these values. And when it changes these values, then everything else reacts to that in the model. And then what I can do is simply stop the simulation here. And notice when you hover over some of these, you see some of the values. What you can also do is edit this chart studio. So if we save that, notice this opens in Plotly, which is very neat. And then you can do a lot more with this when it's in Plotly. So you could go to analyze or do things such as curve fitting, or you could simply zoom in on a specific section of that. As I mentioned, you can do those similar types of things in Simulink, but it's also nice that you have that available to do directly with Cameo as well. So you could get in and really see some of what's going on with that data that's in your model. If you notice, you also have all of that data line by line in somewhat of a spreadsheet above that plot as well. So I thought that was a very neat thing that you can do with Cameo. And if you guys have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out. Thanks.